YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you guys for tuning in on today's video. Today we are jumping right into the dually right behind us. Like I promised, we are going to be doing the four-wheel drive swap on the front end of this two-wheel drive dually. The first thing I'm going to go over is our front axle here, and what you're going to want to get to make this happen. Now, this truck is a 2004, but it is two-wheel drive, so it has the coil springs up front instead of the leaf springs. But since we're going to be swapping an axle underneath it, we might as well go with a coil sprung axle. So this is an axle out of a 2005 and up truck. So you can see the purchase here are made for a coil spring. So now, this particular truck with the dually rear end, like I said, it's a Dana 80 in the rear, and so it has 410 gearing in the rear, so we're going to want to make sure we match that with 410 gearing up front here. Now, there is an easy way to tell. There's a couple different ways to tell anyway, to know. The first way is to look at the tag here that comes on the axle, and hopefully we can see this. Let me flip it around the right way. So right there, you can see 10 right there. There is a 4, which you can just barely see right there. So it does say 410 on the tag. But, you know, if somebody could have thrown that tag on there, or somebody could have changed the axle ratio or whatever it may be. So the only way to 100% verify that this is a 410 axle is if you look on your ring gear here. We got all these. You can see all these letters and numbers. You can see when the axle was made, 12/15/04, Dana, right? Well, the very last numbers here, right where it says 4110. Basically, what you're going to do is you're gonna divide 41 by 10, and that is going to give you 4.1, which is a 410 axle. I believe if it says 4111, then you have a 373 axle. But this, yeah, like I said, this is going to be our 410 front axle out of an 05. We are going to have to get coil springs. I've got it pretty much torn down here. So we got our knuckles off, our wheel bearings. We're going to be doing the ball joints, of course. Wheel bearings, I don't know. These things are so expensive. We might see if they are still good. Hopefully, anyway. We are going to do the new U-joints as well. And then, wouldn't you know, I go to pull this axle out, and this puppy right here, not this guy, that's just a alignment shim. But this guy right here, that is your inner axle seal. That is not designed to come out with the axle. So, we are going to have to pull our gears out and press in new axle seals, inner axle seals, I should say, into this differential. Those are 8x170 pattern, so those will not work. And they're 16s, so they won't clear the brakes. But that's more technical stuff that we'll get into later. The first thing we got to do is rip all of this crap out of here. So we've got our jack stands set up front here. You guys know me, I do not have the luxury of a hoist, so that means jack stands crawling around on the floor. But we're going to make it happen. Now, we're going to be removing the front suspension in 2 separate pieces. We're going to try and keep as much of it together as possible. But basically, we do have to remove our shocks out of the way. We have to remove this. This kind of holds the spring in place. So our shock, that right there. Our sway bar. So on both sides, the sway bar will have to be unbolted. All of our steering, we're going to get all of our steering out of the way. And then at that point, we simply just have... I can show you guys this. We simply have 1 bolt there on each side. That comes up and attaches to our our I-beam, twin I-beam setup here. And that goes across, and there's just 1 bolt that holds it up there as well. You can kind of see it in there. So we'll remove that bolt. We'll remove the back bolt back here. And then this whole thing will just drop right out of here. But enough jibber jabber. Let's go ahead and start tearing into this thing and see if we can't get all that crap up front out of there. All right, fellas. Well, after a few hours of screwing around, we've got the front suspension out from underneath this thing. Just got these brake lines pinched off. That was something else I didn't think of. So these brake lines on the 05 and up, they're actually over here on this side. So we're probably going to have to modify the hard line that sits behind this, and of course get our new brake hose for it. So that'll be something we'll have to add to the list as well. I believe there's even a bracket that holds the brake line. So if we look underneath here, so there was a bracket here that held the arm that came, let's see, that went that way. And then you can see the bracket is still in there, right there on the cross member, that comes this way. Now, this is a real pain. The bracket for the other side wasn't too bad. But this guy, I'll show you, it's got a bolt right there that goes up into the cross member. And guess what? You know, classic 6-liter. We got trans lines, starter wires, all sorts of crap right in the way. So that one is going to be interesting to get out. And of course, they put this fancy Loctite on those bolts. Now that stuff will ruin your day real quick. If you heat them up, that usually works pretty good. But when you only have as much room as I just showed you guys, it don't even matter. But anyway, we've got the two pieces here. These coils. So if you look down in there, see that big nut? That's actually holds. That's a coil plate, and so it holds the coil in place. So you can't remove the coil unless you pull that giant nut off. So yes, sir. While I'm here, I was thinking about it too. So this pitman arm, I think what we might try to do is take a tie rod or a drag link end, an inner drag link end, out of an 05 to 07 and see if the taper is the same. I'm hoping it is. In that case, we don't have to do anything with our gearbox or our pitman arm or anything. I do have one here. Here's our pitman arm that we're going to need. So we'll see. We'll see if that hole is the same. And if it is, then we'll be good to go. We won't have to worry about anything. Got a couple of shock bolts that we're going to need, and the retainer nuts for the lower shock mount, 4x4. We got some miscellaneous stuff in here, coil buckets, radius arms, 4,800 pound springs. So we've accumulated a couple of parts here. Track bar, 4x4 track bar. I do have a track bar bracket that's actually in the bed of this thing. It's okay, all right. So actually, there's our tie rod end right there. That is the outer one. So the one we're going to be after is the one up here, that guy right there. So we'll see if that works. Hopefully it will. But that is going to wrap up today's video. We're going to have to do a little bit of research on our axle here and some of the other stuff. Like I said, brake lines, see what we got to do about the gearbox and everything like that. Hopefully by the next video, I'll have all that stuff figured out. But that'll be in the next video. So thank you guys for tuning in on today's video. Make sure you guys are liking and subscribing, and we will see you in the next video. Peace.